Well, Amy Pope is Director General of the International Organization for Migration and has joined us in the studio. Amy, good morning.
Great to be here. Thanks.
Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Can we just start with this idea that's in the air this week? One in, one out. We heard from someone from the Brothers of Italy party earlier on the programme saying that the danger is that just shifts the problem elsewhere.
The Europeans are dealing with the same issue that the UK is dealing with. The number of migrants, the number of refugees who are coming into Europe has been persistent for some time. And they're seeing it as a deal that we do with you just means that we are dealing with it in Europe, without recognizing that collectively they could do far more if they work together to address the migration at its source or closer to home where it's happening.
Does that actually work, that thing of addressing it at source? When you think about migratory patterns from, say, people leaving African states, is it realistic to say, especially to voters, the way to stop these boat crossings is to make interventions in other countries far away to stop people leaving in the first place?
It does work, and it works primarily in the first country that the migrants or refugees will go to. So we saw, for example, when Tunisia started to push out migrants and made it more difficult for migrants to live in Tunisia, they didn't go back home. They actually came to Europe. We saw the same thing in Lebanon when the public tolerance for Syrians living in Lebanon began to wane. We saw more and more Syrians then head out of Lebanon and more toward Europe. So strategies that address the country of first arrival for migrants are strategies that work. And that's what Europe with the UK could be looking at to address the impacts of movement today.
All of us on this programme often give politicians a very hard time, as people expect, about why they're not able to get on top of this issue. But it is worth saying that one of the many challenges is that migratory patterns vary enormously and can change very suddenly, can't they? So you could see big outflows of people from particular regions to other regions, and then very quickly they could move and the organised criminals shift their operations.
It's true that they move quickly, but the patterns that we are seeing right now are patterns that have been existing for some time. That the top nationalities coming into the UK across the Channel are countries that are currently at war or have a lot of conflict. Syria, Afghanistan, for example, Sudan. And those countries themselves are difficult countries to work with in terms of accepting back migrants if they fail in their bid to find a legal way to stay here. Again, that points to why interventions and engagement and partnerships with some of the more proximate countries actually can make a big difference. A Syrian is not starting their journey in France. So a partnership with France just to address the Channel crossings are simply not going to be sufficient. There will always be someone behind the person who is embarking on their journey across the Channel who is waiting to do that journey.
Final thought, who is doing this policy well? Who is there out there that you look at and you think they've really got a grip of this? They're doing the kind of things that you at the IOM would recommend.
We're looking quite a lot with interest at Italy and how they're managing it. And we're working closely with them. I was recently in Tunisia. I had a remarkable conversation with the ambassador of Italy there. They have now established more than 400,000 new temporary labor visas for people coming into their country. And the ambassador said to me, look, this is the first time that we have seen more Tunisians come to Italy on a labor visa than come across the Mediterranean on a rickety boat. So Italy, while they have very strong stances on irregular migration, they're looking seriously at how they address their own labor market needs, using migration as one of those tools, using cooperation with sending countries as one of those tools.
Very interesting indeed. Amy Pope, Director General of the International Organization for Migration. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.